Lord, let me be loved by you through the world. So this is the world as the Eucharistic gift, all of which becomes fully encountered when we are seeking through it Christ. So St. Maximus the Confessor writes, God is the producer and generator of tenderness and eros. He has set outside himself what was in him, namely creatures. Isn't that interesting? He set outside of himself what was in him, creatures. Which is why it is said of him, God is love. That's a longer quote, but I just want that piece there, because all of the creation is an expression of God's love and desire. And St. Maximus says that if we were healed of our passions, we see the logi. We see the spiritual essences of everything. Monarch, butterfly, uniqueness of each person, and all shimmers with the divine life that is revealed through it. So this is an embodied world in which there's a continual call and response between the invisible divine life that births all the vibrancy of our life, and we receive it and we lift it up, thine own of thine own, we offer thee in all and for all, and God gives it back. And this is the worship that Father was speaking of, the eternal standing at the liturgy of the altar, and then from the liturgy of the altar we go to the altar of the heart of one another and of the world. So it's a continual royal priesthood is our real life. So why is it so hard for us to realize that? Why are we so complacent and heedless and ignorant, as St. Mark the Ascetic says, about the three giants, about our life together, our common life, and about the earth? Why do we objectify it and destroy it so much? Well, here's one little example of raising a question without, because I'm real concerned about our spiritual life, that we don't split the two. Remember that Christ is fully God, fully human, two persons, fully created, fully uncreated, two natures, in one person. Two natures in one person. So, a friend took me to Clochard's restaurant in Saloniki, which is, he said, and he knows because he's been all over the world, I guess, I'll take his word for it. He says one of the finest restaurants in the world, very finest. And he knew the owner. So the chef is coming out and bringing one delicacy after another for us to taste. I mean, there really was extraordinary food. And I'm sitting there, and he says that the monks from Mount Athos, at least one of the monasteries, are coming to Clochard's to learn how to cook. So I thought, what are the monks, the hesychasts who've left the world, doing coming to Clochard's to learn how to cook? So I filed this away, and then I was talking to one of the elders that I know, and we can talk freely, and I said, I go to the monasteries, and a lot of times it looks to me like the monks eat without attention. They do it in about 15 minutes, and they have to get in and get out and go on with their life. And the food is as though you're not even supposed to enjoy it. He said, it seems like instead of praying about eating and then eating like a dog, we should eat as we should pray the eating. Especially if the Lord found it necessary to give us his divine life through the act of eating. And he smiled, sort of wry smile, and said, you have a point there. Well, as it turned out, then I was in Rhodes for the Patriarchal Health Conference, and it just so happened at the table, this Hierodeacon had introduced himself to me. We just met, and Abbot-Dositheos was sitting at the table with a couple other people. Now, Abbot-Dositheos he's written a cookbook. He's a Greek, I think an abbot at one of the monasteries, and he wrote a cookbook. Now, he wasn't saying anything. He was wise, St. Ignatius says, you give the most honor to the bishop who is silent. So he was over there and he was very silent. But the Howard monk and I were having this conversation, and I started talking about this. I said, well, look, why do the monks eat without attention? How do you know? I said, well, I can see them. I see the way they move in their body. And I explained what I thought, and Abba Dosithio said, he is right. Now, I don't know if he said that to scold the monk who was sharp with me, maybe to deal with the arrogance and presumption he saw that would say that I could say the monks weren't attentive. But St. Anthony says that in the way a person moves and the way they turn their head, you can see the effects in grace. One time in Russia, we visited Abdina Monastery. And we were the first Americans who'd been there in probably 5 years or so. And this day it was packed. It's big as this, but there wasn't room for anybody. It was a 5.5-hour service. It's about 40 or 50 monks, and they're going around. It took me 2 hours to realize I was on the wrong side. They were all women over here and all men over here. Some of us are looking at other things, and I just didn't get it. So finally one of the monks came out and moved me to that place. So then one of the monks caught my attention. He was the only one of the entire monastery that I became interested in. And the way he was in his body to me spoke of humility and a quality of fine attention that he's the one I wanted to meet. If I could meet with one, I just thought to myself, I'd like to meet him. But I didn't know anything about any of the monks there, and so as we were getting ready to leave, Matushka Evgenia said, did you get this Starets blessing? I said, Starets? I said, I didn't know you had an elder here. Oh yes, Starets Elia. He saw, the Holy Theotokos appeared to him when he was a child. He's clairvoyant, and people wait for 2 weeks to see him. So she said, let me go see. We'll see if we can get it. So he received us. I guess Americans are a rare quantity around there. So we had an hour and a half with him. It was that moment. And very clearly he had been transformed by grace. Now, does that mean you can always recognize somebody? No, some people see, I remember when Elder Ephraim used to come here when he was having his operations, and some people say, oh, he's a nice old man. And other people want to fall down and kiss his feet. What is the difference? What's affecting people in this way? These are both incarnational. Should I approach the creation and the people in it as though it cannot be a bearer of grace, or you cannot be? No, we shouldn't do that. But then what happens? What happens to me if I realize grace does transform life? It makes icons weep and gush myrrh. How many of you have visited the Taylor icon? Yes, isn't this something? 4 years rolling sweet oil off of it like waves, not even from the eyes, the entire icon, so that the priest takes it and drips it into people's open bags with their coffee. For 4 years, except for during the Paschal week, where everything except around her heart dried up until the resurrection day, and then flowed like. So this is not a weeping icon, this is a myrrh-gushing joy icon that my bishop calls a tsunami, because it is so much. Now, this is a miracle. This is something that is multiplying like the loaves out of nowhere. Now, bodies don't decompose. They gush myrrh, the bones. We're talking about something that also changes us. So, when thinking about our Eucharistic life, we're thinking about this interpenetration between the uncreated, invisible person of God that wishes to infuse our voices, our bodies, everything with his life. So anatomically, I touched on this earlier, but think about this. We don't, language is a mystery. In the earliest languages, maybe Hebrew is one of these, it had to start somewhere. It's been speculated that, like, the name for God, Hebrew didn't have any vowels in it, the ancient Hebrew, so it only had consonants. This is very interesting in and of itself. If it only had consonants, you had to supply something in order to know what was being said. So the actual ingredient of bringing those consonants into spoken life put something in there. Well, the name of God was so holy that was revealed to Moses that the priest would not speak this out loud. That's one reason we don't even know what it sounded like. They would wash their hands, the scribes, if they wrote this on manuscript. And only in the Holy of Holies, once a year, would the high priest speak the name on behalf of the people. So what was this name? Well, one speculation is that Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh would be something that arose out of the actual incarnational experience that was the lived part of God breathed into the dust or the mud. So it's so we're inspired, and then we expire over a whole lifetime. Elder Milianos of Simon Petra Monastery suggests that the most important moment of the slow circular breathing that the holy hesychastic fathers of the Philokalia speak of as characteristic of the foundations of noetic prayer is the silent stillness that occurs between inspiration, expiration, and the next inspiration. So it's after. We're between life and death, waiting for the divine gift that's given to us over and over. This small hesychia, waiting for the breath that revives and enlivens us, without which we cannot live, is hardly ever noticed. Like the food we eat every day, we take our breathing and the life that it gives for granted, just as we do our lives. We lack gratefulness, unaware that with each breath we are breathing God's name. And instead of this, even in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve made a great mistake. This mistake, Father alluded to earlier, it's also our mistake. And God knows we're going to make that mistake. So the fatal beguilement was what Clement of Alexandria called making the voluptuous choice. I love this phrase, because the world is indeed voluptuous. It's absolutely magnificent. To be desired, to be loved, to be enjoyed. So what's the voluptuous choice that Clement said we should deal with so that we don't make this? We should clear up our fear and ignorance. Well, instead of the Eucharistic thine own of thine own, getting a blessing before we partake, which infuses everything with the gift of Christ coming to us through the creation, so that there is not codependency, that is not monologue, but dialogos. Wherever two or more are gathered, the third presence is there. The third of the two persons, like Christ. But if I take the world without it being Eucharistic, it is monologos. Now, what's the difference? Instead of I say, now, don't quote me as saying you can't say yee-haw. get what I'm saying, which is consciousness of the breath and Eucharistically being the altar is a liturgy in which the other communicates the presence of the giver. But if we take the earth, or even our spouse's body without our spouse, we've objectified him or her, divorced him from the person, and we have ashes. So when Christ says, I'm yours, I'm all in, do with me whatever you want, this is a precious gift. If all I wish, given the person of Christ, is to take the gifts he gives, without him, I've made the fatal mistake of making the voluptuous choice. And I become a prisoner to that which I have grasped. So now the spirit is subject to the flesh, or the created order. The uncreated becomes trapped. This is a violation of paradise. So Christ's suffering, his passion bearing, is to be with us as we learn to breathe consciously, as we learn to actually have, if we want to put this in a marital context, to stay awake and present while I have an orgasm, instead of abandoning myself. Now, this does not mean self-consciously to shut things down with my dhyana, my reasoning. That's a mess. And you won't even be able to dance or do anything else if you try to lead with your head. What it does mean is the same thing that would go with my patient into the hell of her misery and not shut my eyes or go to sleep like the apostles outside of Gethsemane, is the same capacity that is needed for joy.